Meanwhile, as we celebrate American independence this holiday weekend, we are still faced with enemies both domestically and internationally as the war on terror continues 15 years after 9/11. One America's Emily Miller was at the memorial site for Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where passengers were the first to hit back against the terrorists by bringing down the plane and giving up their lives in the crash. She has this report.
When Flight 93 was hijacked by terrorists on 9/11, the crew and the passengers fought back, and those heroes forced the plane down into this field in Pennsylvania. The passengers and crew on Flight 93 were the first to fight back in the war on terror.
It's just very emotional, very peaceful. I think on that morning it wasn't quite as peaceful.
The plane was delayed out of Newark. By the time the terrorists hijacked it, the passengers knew that the Twin Towers had been hit. The terrorists turned the plane southeast, headed for Washington, most likely the U.S. Capitol building.
An hour before all this, they were on their ways to their respective business, pleasure, whatever it was, and all of a sudden, boom, they're faced with life and death.
The memorials laid out along the final moments of the flight as passengers fought to get in the cockpit.
It does, I think, enable the visitor to kind of identify with that these are the final moments.
This boulder marks the impact site.
And it makes me angry, tell you, I just said it's a shame so many people died for some nuts.
This visitor center, just opened last year, teaches the history of Flight 93 to keep their memory alive.
I think it gets lost in the shadow of New York, and these people were true heroes, true American heroes.
Even those who were too young to remember 9/11 were equally emotional.
Listening to their phone calls, to family members back home was, really a lot, and, knowing that they were going to die.
Only 8% of the bodies were identified by DNA, so this ground here is truly their final resting place.
The beauty of America, if you will, is that when we do that, we're doing it of our own volition. It's our free choice. It's not compelled. And that's exactly what they did on that plane that very day.
But as the 15th anniversary approaches, the United States is still at war with radical Islamic terrorists.
The woman that's being pushed up there in the wheelchair, the woman said, "Is this going to happen again?" And I just happened to be walking by her, and I said, "You can bet on it."
However, America is an exceptional nation and people.
Some of us might believe in providence, gave us an eternal gift, if you will, not just by saving our lives, but just even leaving us this message of freedom.
The Flight 93 memorial is not yet complete. Next, they're going to build a tower of voices in this field. There will be 40 wind chimes, one for each of the victims, to carry their voices along their final resting place. Emily Miller, One America News, Shanksville, Pennsylvania.